Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me for the price at tmosso@thewatchbox.com. That's your email concierge for your questions about any Watchbox watch, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a watch from a soon-to-be discontinued Breitling collection. This is the Breitling Colt, a lovely 41mm stainless steel chronometer dive watch. 41mm in steel, it is 11.1mm thick. That's a caseback sticker there. And from lug tip to lug tip, 50.4mm with a 20mm spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. And you can see it wears quite well. Over a millimeter thinner than the Rolex Submariner, it is a surprisingly flat, flush, and cuffable watch. Now, it'll wear well on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference, but what really stands out here is that this watch, despite being a diver and a Breitling, is so flat. A timepiece equipped with a professional 3 style bracelet, so slash cut, but with large center links, satin across the top, polished on the outer face, removable links fixed by screws, polished single fold deploying clasp inside a satin finished clasp with a clamshell lock externally. You can see that internally there are 4 divots drilled in the clasp, so you can use your strap tool to re-anchor the root of the bracelet inside of the clasp. You can see this one still features the original packing stickers, so in terms of condition among pre-owned watches, this is just about as good as it gets. You'll see that Breitling has, in good taste, used polish sparingly. The bezel bolts, for example, the crown, the remainder is all in satin finish for a handsome understated look. Crown guard structure with vintage-inspired pointed guards, and then you can see we have screws holding the bezel in place because this is a captive bezel, also used by Zinn, among a few others. The captive bezel is held on by screws, so unlike Rolex, Omega, or Tag, the bezel isn't snapped on and it can't be purposely or inadvertently snapped off, so the captive bezel is more solidly and securely assembled. Now it is a 120 click bezel. Line it up with the minute hand, and now you have a 0 to 60 minute count up timer. I actually prefer this because it's more readable than a chronograph minutes register, and then you can see that the entire bezel is satinated with rider tabs that make it easier to grip the bezel when your hands might be wet, sweaty, or gloved. Let's do a loom shot here. And you can see there's plenty of it, including the bezel pearl. The dial has a lovely tempest, and that is what Breitling calls it, tempest gray, sunburst color pattern. As you can see, the color is tempest gray, the pattern is sunburst. It's a lovely metallic that radiates out from the center. The hands, as well as the indices, are rhodium plated steel, and then we have a nice stepped aperture down to the date, so it's a nice progressive transfer from the plane of the dial down to the date disc. It's not just a sheer cut straight through. You can also see that there is a chapter ring outboard that acts as a sort of rehot to unify the bezel and the dial visually. Underneath the caseback, though you can't see it, is what Breitling calls a caliber 17. Chronometer certified, it is a Sellita SW200, which is Sellita's version of the ETA 28242, bidirectional automatic winding, 38-hour power reserve, 28,800 vibrations per hour, stop seconds, quick set date, and of course it is adjusted in 5 positions as a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. And now we can peek under the caseback, and you can see that this watch is water resistant down to 200 meters, so it is a true dive watch. Handsomely made and capable with a chronometer certification, this watch is as tough as it is accurate and as handsome as it is tough. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. One more detail, you can see that the watch features a little stamp underneath the clasp that indicates it was made in the 34th, I should say, week of 2018, and generally those stamps coincide very closely with the date of manufacture of the watch. A fun fact for Breitling fans.